Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. It is a beautiful day today. Today is our wedding anniversary, 14th wedding anniversary. Say good morning, Mr. Shane.
Morning, YouTubers.
We're on our way to work, but I was asking my husband a few questions, namely, what lessons have have he learned over the 14 years, or both of us? What lessons have we learned over the 14 years of marriage? Let's hear from him. What lessons have you learned, Mr. Shane?
Well, one of the things that I've learned is that you will never, even with the amount of years that you have been married to that one person, that you will never get to know everything about that person. That's one. And also, as you're in the marriage, you know, you won't, that person, whoever you're married to, they're not perfect, right? They're not perfect, and because they're not perfect, they all have some sort of flaws or defect, and as those flaws and defects are manifested, you know, you don't just throw in the towel, but you work through those challenging times, um, and you encourage each other. Um, most of the time, you just throw in the towel and you say, you know what, I can't leave this situation, And so, because if all of us are sinful, so you won't find a perfect person, and so as you are faced with challenging times or the flaws and defects, you work through them. You work through them, and always remember to pray and ask God to help you, to give you the strength and to encourage and to be able to move forward in your marriage.
Yeah, so true. Um, totally agree. Totally agree. Over the 14 years of our marriage, I could say, I put it out there one time, it has not been the perfect marriage. We've been through a lot of things. Thankfully, we were able to work through them with the help of God. And that's the thing with marriage. A lot of times we come into marriage thinking that it's going to be perfect. We watch the movies and we aspire. I mean, nothing wrong with aspiring, but we want to have the happy ever after kind of life, and we know that that's not true. It is hard work. It's hard work. It's two people coming together with plans and ambition, and the kids coming in the picture, working around that and making it work. Making it work. I have a lot more that still need to learn about my husband. He has a lot more that he still need to learn about me. We have a lot of ambitions. We have a lot of things and goals, personal goals that we still are working on. So it's not a thing where you lose yourself when you get into marriage. You don't lose yourself. Both of you come together. Both of us coming together, planning, working towards your goal, and the goal should all be for the betterment of the family. But I like that he said that nobody's perfect, and that's so true, because sometimes we have these high standards that we come into marriage with, thinking that that person should be meeting all of these things on your checklist, checking off all the things on your checklist, and most of the time that's not the case. That's not the case. I myself have flaws that I need to work through. I have my own personal flaws that I need to work through, and my husband likewise has his own personal flaws that he needs to work through. And as both of us work on ourselves, You know, as both of us work on ourselves, that's where we chip off some of those defects, you know, and it's not my job to chip off his defects. It's not his job to chip off my defects. Each of us has have to work on each other to you know, to become that person that you are aspiring to be, you know, not the perfect person, no, but becoming a little closer to being a better person for each other, but most of all, a better person for God, you know, because we're Christians. So we're working on ourselves with the help of God to become better, you know. But it's true that marriage marriage is hard work. Um, None of the two partners are perfect. We both have flaws, but we have to remember that we're working together for one purpose, which is for us to, um, you know, make a happy home as much as we can down here um, on earth. You know, we're looking forward to heaven. You know, we have kids. We always have to remember our children in the midst. Marriage is not separate. Our kids are always involved in everything that we do, you know. But it's important as well to find a little time in marriage for yourself and your spouse. That's one lesson I have learned, and by God's grace, we're trying our best to do better in 2022 with that. Anything else you want to add?
Well, also, as you get married, you're not supposed to lose your identity or lose who you are. You know, most of the time we find people who, when they get married, they try to change who they actually are, and that can be dangerous because how long can you keep that up? So when you get married, in marriage, in my 14 years, um, I am glad that I was able to just be I could have been be myself, because I got comfortable in marriage to the point where you know I didn't have to pretend to be somebody else that I'm not, because of trying to please my wife or try to so that's one thing, in your marriage. If you have to change who you are and try to be something else, then that's dangerous. So in marriage, you got to just be who you are.
Good, wonderful, wonderful. Well, there you have it. 14 years of marriage, celebrating our anniversary today. And we just wanted to come on here just to share a bit of knowledge, counsels, things that we've learned over these 14 years. Not saying that they're the ultimate thing, because there's so much more things that we could say that we've learned. But I believe those are the main ones, for somebody who may be going into marriage or thinking about marriage. Just some things for you to consider before you say I do. And with that, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time out to listen to the video. I pray that something we've shared may have been a blessing and something that you can be useful in your marriage. Have a great day.